Live on the gram.
Hey.
Connect streaming software to go live. We should be live. There we go.
We in?
And we're hot.
There we go.
All right.
Let's do it for the
All right, everybody. Welcome back to episode 31 of the Blue Collar Society podcast. Today we have Adam with Maple and Marble Remodeling.
Hey, guys.
What up?
What color is your no?
No, that's a different podcast. Different podcast. Reel it back in.
So, thank you for coming on. I'm pretty sure you've seen this is our normal, crazy. What do you even call this? This isn't. It's like, I don't know, man. It just happens.
It's a podcast.
Podcast, something like that.
Podcast. We've gone over all the legal stuff, safe words, all that stuff, so we're good.
Yeah. You signed the disclosure, right?
I did, yeah.
Cool.
So we can't get sued. Sweet.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where are you located? And a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in southern Connecticut. Kind of started in the industry. My one of my closest friends hanging out in his yard by a bonfire, and his neighbor just needed like a helper. Kind of started off as that $100 a day laborer, if you will.
Bucket mixer.
Yeah, I was the bucket mixer. Yep. Yeah. Started as a exterior mostly. It was siding, windows, roofing, and then he kind of passed me around to his concrete guy. So I did concrete for like 2 years.
Really?
Forms, foundations, footings, all that heavy labor stuff, and then got 2017 started my first company, which worked out pretty well for like a year, and then I was made an offer at one point to join in with a larger restoration company doing like disaster relief and stuff like that. And at the time, I had a guy working with me, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, man, I got this offer. I'm gonna take it. They told me I might be able to take you with me, but you're gonna have to hang around for 3 months and wait and see." So, but it worked. He ended up coming with me, and then we company hopped twice together. After that restoration company, I went to a kind of like a clean, high-end remodeling company, worked with them for a while, and then swapped finally back to working for myself about 3-4 months ago, and just went full time. But tile's been my niche for a long time. I kind of self-taught, but I'll never forget it. Is the first customer I had. They gave me it is probably an easy way to fall in love with tile work. Is my first customers. They gave me their credit cards and said, just go pick out what you need. And at the time, I didn't know anything. So
I really need this trailer.
Yeah. So I was so this was like in 2015 or so, and I just like most DIYers at the time, I was YouTubing videos, and I knew in my head, I was like, I think a bathroom probably needs to, be waterproof. So I sat on lines maybe every single night, restless, sleepless nights, and kind of like just never stopped. And then, I did their 2 bathrooms, and ever since then, I just like couldn't put down the trowel.
How many tools did you get?
How many tools do I get?
No, what did you get with the credit card?
Oh.
Back. By the way, your limit's 20,000.
Yeah.
Mighty Mouse says hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Uncle
Mighty
Adam.
Mouse.
Who?
Uncle Adam. Is that your nephew?
Uncle Adam.
Yeah, it's my sister-in-law.
Oh, okay.
That's your sister-in-law. Spanish?
You can ask her.
Oh no, just I'm reading the Spanish. That's why I'm like,
Hey, my neighbor's on here. Um,
Your neighbor.
this out of
Oh, okay.
he's
We'll
famous
stop saying
now.
all the bad things about him.
uh
You say you dump what?
Is this the one you keep talking trash about in the Discord?
yeah. But no, I did. I maxed out. I maxed out one of her cards. He gave me-
Was it a lot? Or was it
Yeah.
just like a secured card? Was it only like
No,
$15?
it was a secure card.
Oh.
She was just like, oh, pick paint colors out, and it kind of made it super easy to fall in love with doing like bathrooms because prior to that, I was doing again roofing and concrete work, and let's be honest, that shit sucks. It's heavy.
Sucks.
It's
Oh, yeah.
hot.
What are you talking about? It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like bringing those shingles up that rickety ladder?
Yeah, but yeah, it kind of made it easy just to jump right in. I just go into a Lowe's and Home Depot, and this is before I even had my own Home Depot card, right? And now I got somebody else's Home Depot card, going to pick out what I need. Didn't know anything at the time,
bro. They knew what they were doing. They're trying to get those points.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
It's like,
trying to save
if
money.
we give him this card, he's just gonna go nutty. Let's do it.
So let me ask you this: you mentioned waterproofing. What is your go-to system?
So at that time, when I first got into it, because again, I started off like just typing in keywords on YouTube, Schluter popped out to me, and that's, I learned from, if you remember, Joey Sontag, all his videos on YouTube, him and those other guys, they were like the original OG Schluter videos, and I spent hours typing in how to waterproof a bathroom, and those were the ones that came up. So I just, I kind of got comfortably scared to use anything else at that point because it was the only system that I took like time to learn. And then, now they're all the same, really.
So you don't
now
use that waterproof drywall?
Yeah, no,
No,
not without latex primer.
Oh, okay.
which
You just put some kills on there. That mold block primer on that waterproof board, rock solid system.
Yeah,
rocks out.
restoration.
No, I was gonna say because I did a bathroom recently where the customer provided me with the orange stuff.
What are we not allowed to say that name? The orange stuff.
The orange stuff.
Nah, I just call it the orange stuff. No, I do like Schluter products, just not a fan of their membrane. And I did not know that you have to prime the drywall. That's part of their thing.
You don't. You have to prime over the compound. If it was compounded, you have to prime over.
Exactly. Which, if you're doing subways, you're gonna have to tape those seams unless you're able to get a nice 16-foot board there and cut it in one shot.
Yeah.
So
I've been, like I said, I've been kind of scared and timid to try a decent amount of other companies' products. I mean, besides grouts and thin sets and bonding materials. I mean, I've tried everything, but when it comes to membranes and waterproofing systems, Flow effects is something I've touched before, but besides that, it's been strictly Schluter since day one for me.
So let me ask this: do you use the Curdy membrane on the walls, or do you use Curdy board? What's your preferred system?
That again, it depends. I mean,
I guess that's true. Yeah.
If it's something that someone else came in and they already put up sheetrock, obviously I'm going to go with like the 6-foot Curdy membrane and just try to fix all of those rough framing irregularities that we all love.
So he's a framer. So he's the frame.
Fucking guys.
Yeah, man.
But no, I mean, if I could, I like all the foam boarded products. You guys use the Go board a lot, I see, and Latacrete products. I like the quick, easy, in and out foam board application. Being able to carry 4 panels into a house, with one hand,
And the good thing is, if you've got the foam boards, if like they have animals and they piss on it, it's not gonna like affect it.
Yeah, and if you're cutting something on the floor, you got a nice knee pad too. You can
Jab at Harry. he had a fucking arch nemesis of a cat on one of his jobs. Like every time he panned over, he was looking right at him.
Really.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
one
man,
cat.
dude, like I was just telling my mother-in-law, she's here, and yesterday she was saying, "Yeah, you had me laughing at that reel." I'm like, you have absolutely no idea how actually creeped out I was by that fucking cat. Like,
What is
I
he
was
doing in the house?
fixing the drywall up on the ceiling, and I just thought to myself, I'm like, why do I feel like this cat is there?
He's lurking.
I slowly walk around the corner, and the fucking cat is just sitting at the end of the hallway. I felt like I was in the fucking movie The Shining or some shit, man. I'm like,
Is it bad that I just thought of like a really like thick German accent? What is he doing in the house? Who lets him in the house? Jumps in the pool. I hope he drowns.
Yeah, you ever see, like, touching to that subject, you ever seen the reel where they're like, there's a cat on the roof and he tries 3 different languages and the cat ignores him, but as soon as he starts speaking German, he like
aggressive
snaps
German.
back at him. It goes with that.
It was like some aggressive German too.
Yeah, some aggressive German. He just turns his head over. It's like, oh, so you do understand.
It's something about cats, man. Because I was grout in a shower pan, a little mosaic shower pan, and the homeowner's cat came in, and I thought I felt something on my wrist, and I was like, oh, it's probably thin set because it always is. And I'm starting to look, and I turn, into my armpit, and this cat's head was right in my armpit,
What you
staring
doing?
at me. And I actually chucked the trowel. I was like, oh,
I think they're attracted to. I forgot who told me this. That they're attracted to either the smells. It's either the thin set or the grout. Something about it that attracts the cats.
I thought you were gonna say
told me
my
that?
pheromones. It's like, yeah, I know. It's
Well,
No, they're attracted by
can't keep them off. You know what I mean?
they're attracted because it's someplace they're not supposed to be. That is the nature of cats. Like, oh, you're doing something? Hey, buddy, what's up? What's up, friend? Sorry, Adam,
That's
to
crazy.
sidetrack us. That was just a little, I get my little jabs in here and there.
Yeah, there we
Now,
go.
I don't do
with
it
the
often. But, no.
with the flow effects, have you tried the square or round one? Obviously, the round one because it's Schluter project.
Mostly square. I think I've only done square drains, to be honest.
Oh, because of the mud jobs, probably.
I'm always mud. I mean, I typically float on my pans. The only foam pan I've ever done, I don't know if you saw one of my recent posts. I did that tileable linear drain with that.
The one in the middle.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, it's like right in that middle of the shower. Yeah, it spans the whole length of that back wall. That was the only foam pan I've ever used, actually.
You got something against
you.
I when I talked to Joey Sontag, the rep from, he was the one with like strong confidence, was like, I don't use foam pans, and I was like, it must be for a reason. So I just stuck with the float method
because he's old and stubborn.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I figured that out later.
Dude, the amount of comments that I'm getting on that ProPress video that I posted, they're like, "Oh, he doesn't know how to solder. He's cheating. This isn't gonna last." It's like, yo, you guys are really stuck in your old ways, huh?
Everybody has those in the comments.
So,
oh my god!
What do you guys think about the ProPress? Because it's kind of it's basically like a rubber O-ring sandwiched in a copper fitting that when you squeeze it, right? It's the O-ring that does all the work.
It's considered it's not an O-ring. They call it it's a type of an O-ring, but it's a filament in essence. And when you crush the copper, so I was telling Jeremiah about this. You can still move the joint, but it takes a lot of effort to move that joint. I mean, like a lot of effort. You can repress the joint.
Is it considered a mechanical bond, or is that?
You can't take that thing apart. Once it's literally, so it's a kind of like, it's weird. It'll actually crimp the copper to copper with the filament in the middle. That's how it works. So you actually have
in my mind, it'd be no different from like a PEX crimp ring. I mean, that's copper, and you're crimping that. I mean, you're
No, this
changing the
one
shape
is
of it. Like
the
as
difference
far as a
is
mechanical fastener, like
right.
obviously it's different how it works.
Right, like the crimping, like when you're doing copper crimp or any kind of cinch crimp, it's basically you're squeezing the pecs around that ring, the barb ring of the
Mhm.
fitting. This one actually changes the shape of the copper inside and outside, so it becomes a dual mechanical joint. You know what I
I'm
mean?
not
If
sure
in
that's a good
essence,
shark bite.
not
Say
not
again?
like a shark bite.
Oh,
I mean, a shark bite is just like a friction, basically.
yeah,
Yeah,
Almost.
shark bite's
compression.
literally
You're
just
not,
those little things holding on to it for dear life.
Yeah.
It's more like a
And
claw, isn't
but
it? Like that inner ring is like
Chinese fingers. That's what it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
It is. It's like a
exactly.
finger trap. You're right. Yeah.
and
Right. So
we
yeah,
looked up this recently. It's like I think it's like 600 psi test pressure, but like 300 operating. That's a
mhm.
lot. Like, once you think about it, if you're as far as like a house thing, if your house is at 300 psi, your fixtures are going to shoot through the vanity. Like they're gonna fall
you
off.
flush
So
you
the
flush
question is, I
that
guess,
toilet.
every is not. Well, I guess more people question the longevity of that O-ring or that gasket. But ProPress has been around a lot longer than since it's been mainstream. Like it's been around actually a lot longer than I thought.
Yes, it's I think if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to say 60s or maybe 80s, but it's been around that long. It's just it's never, the problem is when I guess when they first came out, it was a cost thing. It would to get those tools, to get those,
Late 80s,
specialized fittings,
late
it
80s in
would
Europe,
cost
late
yeah,
1990s for the U.S.
and the price it's like anything else is the price point. As you can see, the tool is still ridiculously expensive.
I mean, I got one
You're
of the Amazon,
I was
the
just
you
about
got
to
hand
the
say,
eye
hold
hand.
on.
crimp.
Though it's got like the pneumatic pressure, like
Oh, the bicep
Oh, that you
maker.
can do it one
Like,
hand. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Here,
for the Pro Press, so it's
It's
like
not like the mini, the rigid mini, but goddamn.
yeah. So
it,
what are your
Cost-
thoughts on that as far as operating it? Because I've used Omar's ProPress when I went to New York, and I've used like the big PEX crimpers. I haven't used the ProPress crimpers, but I know for me the big PEX crimpers, right? If that ring or anything slides, it's hard to use. It's because both your hands are
it's
using to crimp.
difficult. Yeah, you're the load of pressure that your arms and hands need to, like for you to actually crimp that Pro Press.
Mhm.
It just seems to force the elbow or the ring like off center, and you
Yeah,
like end up fighting fighting it. I mean, the first time I tried to use it, I tried to use it in a kitchen cabinet, and
oh
it was
yeah, the
more of a pain than it was worth. I
yeah.
mean,
Because I will say that is the benefit, and I noticed that the biggest thing is you want to make sure that fitting is seated properly, right? That it's far enough down, and when you use the Pro Press, you're able to operate the press one-handed, but use the other
I
hand to
know
like pinch the pipe and the fitting in, and you can crimp it. And just based off of how important that was, and using those big jaws for pecs, as soon as you start to like push down, of course you get a little bit of the shakes,
moves.
it moves on you. So, I guess it's good
Yeah.
for those one-off situations, but I definitely see the benefit of the Pro Press. That being said, it's not in the budget.
yeah, it's
I
pretty
Yeah, I
don't know.
mean,
pretty pricey, man.
it depends on the amount of plumbing that you do. Like those are good too for like we were talking clutch situations. Let's say for some reason you blow off a valve and you can't turn the water off. Your options are shark bite valve and close it, or put a pro press valve, press it and then close it. You can shut the water off. So it's good for that.
Or you
Speed,
can just go the
obviously, but
hairy route and just squeeze the Viega press fitting
squeeze
over the copper.
with pure hate.
That's it.
But yeah, no, the Viega. So the difference too, so the difference between the two pro presses, right? The mini and the Milwaukee and the actual big one, rigid, is what Jeremiah was saying. You press the button and it starts pressing by itself. The mini, you have to hold on to the button. That's the one difference. So the
Which
mini, you
I
actually,
wouldn't see being too bad though, because like you adjust
it's
a little bit of pressure and it's like, okay, it slipped a bit. Let me adjust it, right?
right. No, like this one, you could actually like the Milwaukee one, you could press it and let it go, and
Mhm.
it'll press on its own.
Does
So
it
sometimes it's good.
do it three
Go ahead.
quarter? Does it do half inch, 3/4? The mini called?
The
Those are like
one,
4 inch.
yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Well, the one
No,
that I
it's
have
it is.
has an inch and a quarter limit, I think, because
Oh
it's
Oh,
the
wow.
M12. If you go
oh
to the
yeah,
M18 and bigger, you can go up to like 4 inches of press, which obviously that's industrial. Like
yeah.
if you have to press a 4 inch fitting in someone's house, you got some
Dude,
problems.
I saw that at the plumbing supply store, a 4 inch pro press fitting. It was expensive, but I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
But and you know, like
Not
the
in the
drain
budget.
too. Yeah, no, that's way out of the budget.
But it's a drain though.
But
It's never like any pressure. If it's a 4 inch line, the odds are it's probably a drain.
well,
And honestly, most people
no,
would. Well, if they're using a pro press
main
fitting, it's
line.
a main, yeah.
A main for what?
Yeah,
Like a hotel? Where do they even use
no,
four
like
inch?
main on the street, like supplying everything. That would be a 4 inch main. Usually it's
Yeah.
4 and 6 inches. Yeah,
Oh, no kidding.
but you know the cool thing too is that they have the pro press for I think they have it for drain too. So instead of soldering that elbow in the copper, you just pro press it in there. Another option too. But there's limitations too. You got to be careful. Like for our area, the hard water weakens the copper, so you got to be careful with that.
Are you a
Um,
fan of PEX more than copper?
at the moment, because of the water that we have, yes, PEX is king. It doesn't calcify. The fittings are if you use the poly fittings, the plastic ones, they won't rust around the fittings itself.
Or
And
calcify either, because brass will also calcify.
right, that's the main issue around here is like copper's trying to defend itself. That's why it starts to basically calcify and turn all kinds of colors. It's trying to defend itself, but in the same process, it's like kind of killing itself. So it starts to create pinhole leaks. I'm sure you've been to jobs where they
I've
had pinhole
been
leaks.
to a house up the street from mine. It's a well water, and I bet you know,
Oof,
Omar, you probably know well water kills copper pipes way faster
kills.
than city water. But it probably every other year she has a pinhole leak shooting or pissing water in her basement.
Right.
So she's
So that
very
would be that would be a house where like you'd have to be real careful to pro press because by pro pressing you might collapse the whole pipe because it's already weak to begin with.
Oh, no kidding.
And
So
depending on
yeah,
the year of the home, like of course copper has different thicknesses. They usually use like the thinnest and cheapest stuff. And I think
yeah,
was it the if you're in like the 80s and 90s, you're good. I would say once you get about mid 2000s is what you really got to worry about because then they started using the cheapest stuff they can get a hold of.
yeah. The levels is schedule L and the schedule M.
Around
M
the
is the
time,
thinnest.
oh, yeah,
You know, M is the thinnest for heat. That's what's on your baseboard heaters. It's really thin. You could actually collapse it with your fingers. It's really thin because you don't need heavy pipe to heat the house up. It's a waste of copper. The L is the one for the water.
what's a baseboard heater? No.
Why is the baseboard heaters just under less pressure? Is that what that is?
Not only that, it's just it's easier to disperse heat. Like if you have a thick copper pipe, it
Makes
will take
sense.
so
Yeah.
much longer to heat the pipe up versus a thin wall to be able to do it. That's why if you see the press videos on baseboard heating, you have to put a sleeve inside the copper so you can press on top of it. Otherwise, you're just going to crunch that whole pipe down to nothing.
Meanwhile, me and
It has
Harry are just over here running our natural gas, being warm as can be. Don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that copper situation. We just got to worry about the carbon monoxide leaking into the house. Other than that, we're pretty
just
good.
killing you by gas. That's okay. I mean, but no, I mean it's a good tool to have. If you do run into it, it's worth investing into it. At least with the mini, you know, I think the kit comes with 3/4 and 1/2 inch, which is your standard. You're going to run in. If you're doing 1 inch, might as well solder it. Don't press it. The fittings are just ridiculously expensive.
I feel like
You know,
soldering is just so easy that I mean, it's just
it
messy.
is.
It's just
It
messy
is.
and
But
smelly.
that's the issue. Like the houses that we work up here, 50s, 60s, and then you get real close to the studs. Those studs will catch on fire. I mean, those things are like prime for fire. So that's where like that's where the pro press is king.
That's where you
Where
bring
you no longer
marshmallows,
have
man.
to, yeah, you don't. You get that phone call. It's like the bathroom's still standing, but the house is not. So you know, and that's where I tend to use it. I tend to use it in scenarios where I don't want to put a flame in there
Or
and
service work
potentially
too.
start a fire. And
Because for service work,
too.
like if you got to cut an access panel, think about it. You know, with the flame, you'd need less space with a pro press. At least in my mind.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, for sure,
That's
And of course, you got
You
that
know,
one awkward spot that you got to reach your arm all the way in. Same with pecs. I mean, I've got the little pliers that you squeeze versus the big jaws when it's in a stud bay. Mm-mm. It don't
yeah,
work.
no. So it's a good investment, but if you use it a lot, if you have your own plumber, then don't bother with it. It's not worth the $1,500 investment to sit in the car for the one-off chance that you're going to use it.
That's what it would be like for me. I don't think I've had a job in the last 2 years that I did
Yeah,
my own
it's
plumbing.
not. Yeah, I wouldn't bother with it. So if you do it on a regular, then if you do like the plumbing, you change the valves, then yeah, get it, because they also sell the head that does the PEX. So you can have one tool that does the PEX and the copper too.
This
So
is
you don't have
Milwaukee.
to. No, rigid.
Oh, this is rigid.
Yeah,
Oh.
they when I was buying the Milwaukee, they didn't have the. It's called the Viega Pure Flow, with those little silver sleeves that you push on and then you crimp them down. That one. So they didn't
Speaking of
have the head.
tool companies, where you guys lying? You guys Milwaukee guys? Where are we at?
Oh boy.
Yeah, here
boy.
it is. Let's fight.
All three of us on our side are all on different
Oh.
teams.
Are we?
Well,
I'm
Should I go change my shirt?
It's gonna go change my shirt.
Yeah, he's got a shirt. We got a provided shirt.
Yeah.
These tools come with a 401k and a pension. All right.
Yeah.
We
I'm
have to
a
call
top-
him.
Yeah.
We got to check on him every once in a while. That's how old his tools are. Like, you all right, buddy?
Oh,
You
man.
good?
He's running off a fake Facebook Marketplace.
DeWalt
tools, huh?
Kita. There you go.
Yeah.
Groovy says we're DeWalt
Kita.
Kita. Yeah. So as far as tool like power tools, I'm more of a DeWalt guy. I don't do a lot of trade specific plumbing or electrical work. So standard drills, circular saws, porta bands. I go DeWalt.
Yeah.
I do have a pack out system. I think they have the best pack out. But that's just me.
You picked. Did you pick DeWalt, or did DeWalt like pick you because you had worked with guys that had DeWalt? What did you?
A little bit of both, if you will. I've used the Milwaukee tools. My problem is like I've used Omar's tools and I've used other people's tools. I don't like the way the impact driver is set up. I hate the way that the safety switch is for the circular saw, and I hate the way that their batteries. You got to do that pinch thing, and the pinch never seems to work properly. I always got to like fiddle fuck with it. Versus a DeWalt, I just take my thumb, grab it, slide it out. So that's just how I aim on that.
That's just a poor person that can't take a battery out.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, not for nothing. I hate the Milwaukee battery platform. That the top pinch. Nah, it's
The
terrible.
Milwaukee or the DeWalt?
The Milwaukee.
Okay. Yeah. See,
DeWalt's the same, isn't it? Or it's like, or it's the side.
No, we got
side
right
pinch.
on top. You use one thumb. All right. You got to use one finger, and you pinch it, and you slide the whole.
So that's what I use. I use the one finger battery platform, but mine's Makita. Primary. So my one of the first guys I started working. One of the first guys I started working with. He was primarily Makita, and to buy tools, I was like, all right, let me get something with the same battery platform. But really, what sold me is I saw him throw his Makita drill set off a 3-story roof on the concrete, and it still worked. So I was like, all right, that's sold. I'm gonna get Makita.
Nobody watched my hammering video, did they?
Like individually, just one by one, just chucking them off the roof?
No, just as one is,
Oh,
We're gonna
it's more
test
like
that warranty too.
Yeah, accidental anger, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was.
It was
off
accidental.
chance.
It was covered by
The
warranty.
off chance he succeeds on the second try.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah.
well, mine start with an M as well, but they're Metabo. I don't.
Hitachi.
Hitachi,
Yeah.
Metabo.
Talking about power tools.
Some of those are
My
pretty
first set
specific.
were Hitachi though. When I first started buying, they were Hitachi. But as
Isn't that
once they merged-
Metabo, right? Hitachi? No.
Yeah, that's what the HPT stands for. Hitachi Power Tools.
Oh, okay.
Now, I will say the Metabo.
Don't worry,
have
Omar.
used-
I the same thing just went through my head. Oh, really? I don't think I put that
Hitachi, right?
together. Yeah.
I will have to give it to Harry. Metabo, as far as all the battery powered nailers, Metabo has the smallest one. DeWalt, I will say DeWalt's framing nailers and their finished nailers are fucking huge for no reason at all. Like
Yeah,
I have a
Milwaukee, too.
Craftsman one. I bought a Craftsman one that's actually smaller than the Milwaukee one and the DeWalt one, and I got it for like $70. And all I did is go to Amazon and buy an adapter that went from the Craftsman battery to the DeWalt battery. Looks like a charm.
Why?
Metabo's got
Batteries
the whole
work just
nailing
fine.
on lock. The pneumatic and
See,
the battery power.
Yeah, well, I'll just I guess Metabo. Yeah, Metabo for pneumatic tools, I would go to Metabo anytime. But as far as like a pneumatic nailer versus a battery powered nailer, it's gonna win on size every time. I mean, you just can't beat that. It's the convenience in having to lug the fucking air compressor upstairs to shoot in one piece of baseboard. Like it's.
I've used the framing nailer, the 3-inch framing nailer, and that thing is heavy, bro.
Which one?
Oh yeah,
The
absolutely.
one. That thing is
Hell yeah.
heavy, and I like, even though it does have the continuous shot mode, I still don't think that it's as fast as using a air powered nailer.
No, it's not as fast. He's talking about, remember the framing nail gun that I have from Milwaukee?
Mm-hmm.
That actually comes with a belt clip, and I don't know who in God's earth is going to hang that off their belt.
It's
pants will be down.
The Metabo one has it too, bro. That thing's heavy.
Who the hell is going to hang that off their pants?
DeWalt has it. You can use it as a belt clip, but it's really not a belt clip. It's actually a Raptor clip. It's designed to fit around.
No, Milwaukee has the belt clip on one side and the Raptor hook on the other.
You're right. I own it.
No, that was for your belt. Like, this thing's gonna rip your belt and your pants down to your ankle. It's gonna go one straight line. Like,
not if you have your Fairwind belt.
No, come on.
Yeah, you gotta get that
sponsored by. But no, it's the Milwaukee is good. It's got the 3-shot burst, but like you said, compared to the air hose, the speed burst. And
Isn't
the
that
lightness.
Illegal in New York? What do you mean a 3-shot burst?
Well, I had to get a license for that thing. So yeah,
get a background check for your nail gun.
For what we do with the remodeling, to remodel a bathroom, you have to have a compressor, hose outside, all this. The framing gun
every time. It's
a small room, so I got the 30-degree angle one because I didn't want the magazine to be in the way. And the 21 or 23 comes with an extended magazine, so it's outlawed in New York because we don't get to have more than 10 rounds.
I will give that to. I think DeWalt has a 21 degree, but what I hate about it is the slide is so long that you put a standard pack in there, right? But it's just barely too small to fit a second rack, so it's long for no reason, right? And that's a problem I run into in my daily life.
You can fit 2 whole racks in there, no problem, man.
No, dude, I want to say the DeWalt nail gun is honestly trash.
I'm gonna have to get that shit tattooed on me one day.
Have them
better come with a sponsorship.
What do you mean? Yeah, you're a walking billboard, right? They're gonna pay you. That's rent right there. If they don't pay you, remove it. No, but
it'd just be a reason to cause a fight at every job site.
I've done new construction. I mean, I've built an entire house from the ground up. Pneumatic nailers win for that. But for what we do, it's, where we have to frame out a bench, sister a wall, all that stuff. We get it knocked out with the battery nailer.
I honestly prefer to use screws in.
Well, yeah, I do too. I use the framing screws as well.
Yeah, because I hate having unless I'm gonna be continuously using that gun, I don't want to bring it anywhere. Because even though I got the pancake compressor now, but I just hate having to bring the compressor everywhere. Before I had the big compressor I had to bring everywhere with me, and unless I was doing framing all day, I wasn't really trying to bring that thing out the house.
I hate bringing the air compressor, especially since I don't have a trailer. It just takes up space in my truck that I could use for other tools.
Yeah, I get that. I like the pancake. Only because I use my 18, 16, and then the pin nailer often enough to where having all of those running off just the one pancake, it's just easier to swap them out. The only thing I do have that's battery powered nailer is the Milwaukee framing nailer. That thing comes in handy. That it's heavy. And it will pull your pants down if you try to wear it. It does not.
Don't drop it. If you drop that, you're gonna.
But the Pazload nailers, where it uses the CO2, the gas.
Oh god,
those are nice. Of course, they're expensive, but they're nice.
But think about it: like you have to gas up the nailer, Then you have to recharge the battery to use the gas.
Hmm.
Like that's just
I've
no.
seen them clogged too many times.
Oh, really?
Gentlemen
Yeah,
I used
they
to
they've
work with,
they've been
yeah, they would
so many
clog up.
problems.
So I will say
Wait,
though,
what is the point of that?
I,
I mean, I guess you get the power, but the battery, it uses very little battery. I will give it that. It's mainly relying on the gas for the power, and the electronics is just operating that piston. But it's
well, the gas is the purpose. Like when you see the Milwaukee one, you see that giant piston on the side of the framing gun.
mhm.
Essentially, the gas replaces that giant piston, so you don't have to deal with that because that's what winds the gun and hammers it.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
basically like a
Okay.
Nerf gun.
I'm gonna make some coffee
essentially,
real quick.
yeah.
Say again, Harry.
I'll be
He's
right
getting a
back. I'm gonna
coffee
make some
break.
coffee.
Okay.
So, you know, I like the framing gun, the one that I got. Like I said, when I'm doing sistering, when I'm doing, you know, a lot of framework, because you think about it, when you a box of nails is what, $30, $40 for a giant
I would
box of
say
nails
more than
versus
30.
probably 56, I would say. But that box of nails will last you how long? You know what I mean? Versus buying screws all the time. And the problem with screws too is like as you're trying to screw and it's vibrating, it shakes sometimes, it gets you off level or whatever the case may be. With a nail gun, it's just boom, boom,
Yeah,
go.
I
Right?
like speaking of this the screw method. I just bought the the DeWalt stand up automatic auto feed subfloor.
Oh, the walking,
Oh
yeah, the
yeah.
walking.
Yeah, I just got that. I mean, I had to cut out an entire kitchen and dining room subfloor,
Oof.
and it wasn't in my mental timeline to sit down there on my hands and knees and screw or nail it down. So
Well,
I
usually you get a helper. You beat him first, and then he does his job.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's like when you get those Luon and eat the Luon with all those staples, dude. I'll pay it. I
Oh,
got family members like, yeah, my son's 15. I was like, great, $100. You get these pliers, sit here. You're probably only gonna be in the same room, but it's gonna be the easiest $100 you can make. This is gonna be the most
oh
boring
Yeah.
man.
job that you
I
do,
mean,
but it's gonna be the easiest money you make.
that's the point I'm at now. Is actually I gotta create an ad, and I gotta hire within the next couple months.
Good
Probably,
luck.
I know it's tough, man. It's full
Dude, it's
time.
Jeremiah can attest to this, bro. I've ran ads and I got one guy that was near age of retirement, and
Yep.
then 6 females from like Middletown, New York. I was like,
Yep.
your drive is over an hour just to get to this job. I'm like, you're gonna waste the pay that I'm gonna pay you in gas.
hmm Your
That's your
overhead
car.
is more than your income at that point.
Yeah, I was like, no, I can't do that to you. I said, I would love to bring you on, but like, I said, you got to be here at a certain time. Traffic going up there, traffic. Oh God, it's a nightmare. So
Yep.
it's tough, man, and that's another issue, and that's a whole other topic about helpers. But
Yeah, I'll still need to do it though. I'm gonna have to,
yeah,
weave
I mean,
through that storm of dealing with
yeah, but
ambitious and
you have
stupid
more
or
you have more connections though.
smart and lazy people and try to figure out,
Well,
Yeah,
seems like the
college,
issue
high
that
school
everybody
kids.
runs into, and I ran into this. Of course, inevitably it happened. But the biggest thing that people hire, you need to hire somebody that knows what they're doing. Unfortunately, you got to pay more for that. If you want to train someone from the ground up, you may get a year at most out of them, and then after that, they go, I can make more money on my own.
Yep,
And everybody
Yeah.
branches off.
that's what I did.
So yeah, that's what I did too. So I
Yeah.
mean, I like inevitably it happens, but you got to be prepared that you're gonna probably do if you're teaching them from nothing. It's gonna take them a couple months, maybe even a year for all the training that you want them to do. Maybe get a
Yep.
little bit more time out of them, and hopefully a return. And then and then you've lost your investment.
Yeah.
Bears Garage says he'll come back to Connecticut and be your helper.
Oh yeah.
I
Where's he
just
at?
asked him how much. He's on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I gotta.
Yeah, if you sign in on the right side of your screen, there should be a comment section that you can watch it. Top right should say comment. You may have to log in.
Oh, and there goes Harry.
Hey, bye, Harry.
So But no, I mean, like
Oh, there we go.
another thing too that I'm finding out that it's like I need a helper for certain days. I don't need a helper for every day because like once you start tiling, especially in a shower, like having
Yeah.
a helper really doesn't help you because you're just gonna be standing there like
With
passing
his
you a
thumb up
tile.
his ass. Yeah.
You know, exactly. It's a waste. So like for demo days,
Yeah,
for
day
if
laborer.
you're or if you're laying down like a whole floor, yeah, that's clutch. The guy can be, you know, back buttering the tiles while you're troweling and getting ready for the next one. But in a shower, especially like a subway shower, like what's he gonna do? Stand there with a handful of subway tiles and just keep handing them to you? Like
I mean,
so
You know how you
I think
solve that? While you're doing nothing, go clean the truck. Like, this is part of being a helper. All right. When you're sitting there with your thumb up your ass, you're gonna clean something.
and
Like,
then
that's how it is.
the problem is too now with social media, a lot of these guys are like, yeah, I want to start at $30 an hour or something like that. And it's like, as a helper, where I got to teach you everything. I mean, no. Good luck with
it's
that.
it's tough.
You better have transportation, tools,
Oh,
your own power tools,
I should
and at
drop you
least
off
some
on
guy.
site. Yeah, I should be able to drop you off on site and come back and it's done for that kind of money. You know what I mean? Like,
Hour.
no,
Yeah,
$30. I
that's
mean,
a
I know
that's a
we're up
steep.
here and it's going to be more.
Yeah.
No, that's
So
steep.
I guess Harry, down in your area, I mean, have you tried to hire somebody or at least get some help? Well, what is that
What's the
situation looking
rate?
like where you're at?
Man,
You better not talk about no Brazilians, and they're going to do it for $1.50 in a case of Coronas. All right.
no. So not for nothing. I've been trying to get in with these. They're not all Mexican. There's like Mexican, Salvadorian, Guatemalan. They're from that area, but it's
Nah,
a
they're
very
all
tight-knit
no.
community.
Just from
Me and
South
Omar,
Mexico.
South Mexican. That's how we explain it to rednecks.
They're just like the Portuguese and Brazilians. Like they don't let nobody in their community, bro. They don't want to fuck with nobody. So I could go down to the gas station down on Ashley Phosphate and scoop up a couple of guys in the morning, but I don't want to do that. And the only time I had a good helper, it was a friend of mine who I used to do security at the nightclub with, and he just wanted a day job. So he'd end up coming to work with me, but I had to pick him up. He was a good helper, but I had to pick him up, drop him off. As soon as he get in the car, he want to stop at the gas station, get some Twisted Teas. So it was just like the dude.
Prime
He
of
was
Man,
young
it's 8
kid,
o'clock in the morning.
probably your age, Jeremiah, but he was a heavy drinker, bro. Then he got me starting to want to drink by like 12 o'clock on the job, and I'm
Oh,
like,
man.
man,
I've
stop.
I've had that. This is like a while ago. This is when I first started. I had started hiring random like friends through friends, that just jobless, drinks a lot. This kid came on and he said, "Oh, hey, yeah, man, I could help you out, And I was like, all right, no worries. And then second day, he's like, oh, hey, like, do you mind? I've had a drinking problem. Like, do you mind if I, have a drink maybe on lunch or something, just kind of get through the day? He's like, I get the shakes and whatever. And I said, you know what? I mean, on this job, it's vacant. No one's on site. I said, I'll accept it and see. I'll keep an eye on you. I mean, like if you're gonna have one drink, I'll be okay with it if it helps you get through the day. I needed the help. Turns out he comes in the morning with a Stop and Shop grocery bag of it with 18 beers in it for his work day.
So when he said one, did
Yeah.
he mean one
case?
18 pack?
Yeah. And,
or one beer?
He didn't lie. He told you he needed one to get through the day. He didn't tell you it was one
was
bottle.
honest. Yeah.
He didn't lie about his problem. No, but he did. He kind of screwed me up. I was timid at the time. I said, you know what? Yeah, just like after this, dude, you can't do that again. But by the end of the day, I mean, he was taking a cat's paw to hardwood floor that we were going to refinish. Oh, I know. Yeah.
No, dude.
So-
there is a difference between there is a difference between like a guy like, because let's be real, in the trades, that's just a common issue. You know what I mean? If it's not drugs, it's drinking. So there are some that will
Caffeine.
have that
Yeah.
or caffeine, which is just a legal drug. Um, so they will function. They will be able to produce. They will. Some of them won't be able to produce good if they're not drinking. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those weird things. But
Yeah.
if you get a guy that doesn't know what he's doing, that's different. Like if you get a guy, he gets tuned up, and next thing you know, the bathroom's done, and you're like, oh, okay. You know?
As Jeremiah sips on his Corona. Listen, it is
Yeah.
after work. I'm allowed to have a beer or four.
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Okay, it's office work. All right, you can have a beer office work. All right, it's not on site. I have an
Yeah.
OSHA handbook. It
I wish I
doesn't
could
say
find
I can't
guys
have
like
it.
my old uncle.
You said what?
I wish I could find guys like my uncles from when I was like, well, they're all old now. They probably can't work, but like my uncle when I was younger, man, those guys could do anything drunk. Like,
The roofers.
If they were sober, you wouldn't trust them.
Yeah.
yeah, that was like if they weren't drunk, you're like something's off with this guy, man. But
Yeah,
Why
don't give
is
him
those
the credit.
guys, man,
He's sober.
I will
Nah.
say, like the guy that I got. Now I'll give you this. Like I can leave him on site. I can leave him on site with material. I can trust that I come back. Everything's, he's working. He's a good worker. He works fast. He works good. That being said, this is the only time I ever take a lunch. For me, I have a Red Bull in the morning. For him, he needs a michelada, which is just with it like beer. I think it sometimes has rum in it. Has like a tomato mix. It's essentially like a beer Bloody Mary, and that's like his Red Bull. We'll take him to lunch. He gets that. He's like, all right, I'm ready to go. And he doesn't overdo it. He just has one, and we get some lunch, and he's good to go. So, and then if we wait a little bit longer after the job site, I'm like, all right, let's go get a beer. I'm kind of lenient with that. And that being said, there is no drinking on the job, like, because if the customers see that, that's your ass. I'm sorry.
So take a sip.
Yeah.
Take a sip.
Pour it in a gas station in a cup. All right, jeez, just don't bring the bottle.
Yeah, no, it's
Well, that was my worst nightmare. I mean, that was like my nightmare of hiring friends through a friends, actually. So that wasn't even just like a random person that I posted an ad for. And,
that's someone that vouched for someone.
Yeah. Who I'm not friends with because of it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
And that's where the relationship ended.
Yeah.
Nah, it's you'll find somebody. It's just gonna take a few. I haven't actively started looking.
We're all still all of us here, right? We're all still one man shows, right?
Yeah, we're all.
Except for me. I mean, I have
he's a
plumbers,
contractor now.
I have I have painters for the greater interest of my customers. I have a dedicated painter and drywaller. And then of course,
as a sub though, I mean, you 1099 them.
Yeah, I 1099 them. I've got an electrician, a plumber, a painter, and then I have a guy that I use for tile, but half the time I'm there helping him. And I mean, he can definitely work circles around me. He's got 16 years on me, so but he does really good work.
I'm looking to W2 somebody probably within this year.
I want to with this guy, but I have to. My problem is I'm not getting consistent work. Like I get a lot of leads that are in, but I'm not getting consistent work. And I have a situation now where I potentially have a month that I have to wait because it's taking the city that I applied a permit for like 2.5 months to get a permit pulled. So
30 days should be their minimum. I found out that the hard way. I was waiting. It was like 3.5 weeks, and I called, and then somebody tipped me off and said, if they don't reply within 1 month on the dot, that like there's something that they have to go through, but it forces their hand to do something. But
they give you the green light.
Yeah, and they did. They passed or accepted my permit literally on the final day. It was
They don't do that here. They just told me yesterday they're processing permits from the beginning of January.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, you can always come to New York. Or Connecticut.
I'm hiring. You could.
He's hiring.
Dude, it's so bad. I mean, I've got like 2 to 3 weeks of work, right? And I have a month of inspections, and I can't close a job out till a month later. So I just,
oh boy,
I just stopped accepting. I'm not gonna say how much, but I stopped accepting jobs in Durham that require a permit unless it's over a certain price threshold. Other than that, it's not worth my time.
I mean, that makes sense though. I mean, what's your? I mean, I think my
Stop following the rules.
demographic is.
Stop applying for
Dude,
permits.
no,
goddamn.
Durham does not play. They'll come for your house and home, your car, your
Yeah.
children. Like they don't play with that. So
Just don't change nothing in the front of the house and just do whatever you want inside. Man.
what I've started to do is North Carolina changed the law. If you're doing a like for like swap, then you don't have to get you don't like as far as you don't have to get a building permit. You just have to have a licensed tradesman do the work. So if they have an acrylic pan and I pull it out, I can put another acrylic pan of the exact same size in there. I don't even have to pull a plumbing permit. I just have to have a licensed plumber do it.
Really? Oh no way.
Yes. That used to only apply to water heaters in North Carolina. Water heaters and like, electrical system repair and all that stuff and plumbing repair. But now like the building stuff, as long as I'm not changing the footprint and the layout, I'm good to go. And I just tell people, I was like, we can change that acrylic pan to a tiled pan, but it's going to cost you like $500-$600 more for me to pull a permit to make the designs. And then I got to charge you for the city. And then the inspections, it's going to take probably about an extra 2 to 3 weeks than the actual job. So it's just, it is what it is.
But you don't live in Durham though, right?
No, I don't live in Durham. I live in Mebane, much nicer area. I love it here.
And that's how far away from Durham?
About 15, 20 minutes. But a lot of my work is in Durham County, Wake County, which is in like the Raleigh area. And then I get some stuff in Chapel Hill. But their permitting portal is significantly better. Durham decided that anything related to the government of Durham is all in this one website called Durham One Call. And it's the worst fucking idea that was ever implemented. So the planning thing sucks. There's no communication versus if I go to Wake County, I can log in. I can see all of my permits there. I can see the status of everything. I've got who I'm assigned to, who I can call directly versus Durham. I got to call. They're never in the office or the desk. Like, it's just, I don't like working with Durham. It's just, and then the inspection process is a pain in the ass. The inspectors don't communicate at all. So I can waste a whole day waiting for an inspector that might not even come.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. There is now a town that I will probably not work in again, just because of their building department is it's not like it's a small building department, but they have one building official that is allowed to actually accept and or deny and push forward a project through the permitting office, and he's lazy. He doesn't care. He just sits around. Probably, it's just not worth, again, unless it's for a certain demographic. I mean, like the demographic I try to go towards is probably like $500,000 and up homes. So, I mean, it doesn't mean that the jobs are, again, worth working in a town that has a crappy building department, but it's a tough thing to deal with, man.
Well, and I'm curious too, because this is how this city does their inspections, right? I have to, the way the inspection works, the waterproofing of the shower pan is a part of my rough-in inspection, but I cannot cover the PEX and the plumbing valves and everything for the rough-in inspection. So what I have to do is I have to build a mud bed. I have to bring the go board and like 2 foot up the wall, waterproof everything, fill the pan up, make sure my plumber had put all his PEX and stuff in, and that's what I got to do to pass the permit. So like, you got these systems like, HydroBlock. It's a great system. I could waterproof a whole bathroom in a day, but I couldn't do that because I have to waterproof the pan and then get it flood tested and pass the inspection.
They make you flood test to pass that inspection.
Yes.
There's that, and that's like on paper.
Yes,
as a separate unit.
No, it's a part of the rough-in, the plumbing rough-in.
Really?
So yeah, I wish it was 2 separate things. Like what you can do, and this is a pain in the ass, is I can get an inspection for it's a partial inspection, right? They can pass, they can see the plumbing behind the walls, And then what they're going to do is they're going to go, okay, I see the plumbing behind the walls, but we didn't complete a full rough in. So we're going to fail you, but you can reschedule this inspection when you have the flood test in, and then we'll pass you. The problem is I got to pay a reinspection fee.
Oh, man.
So it's like, it seems stupid. It should be like, all right, plumbing inspection, then I do the waterproofing, and then they do the flood test. Right. So like,
so I find it weird. So like in my area, you need rough plumbing inspections.
Mm-hmm.
But in my area, they do accept, because I'm not a licensed plumber. So I if I'm pulling a permit, I can't do my plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
The bonding flanges, the tile bonding flanges that all companies make now.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you set that in your mud bed or on your foam pan, which is usually the tile guy's job. And that's probably the only plumbing that we're allowed to do, but we're not required to do a flood test after. I mean, I like to do some, I do them when I have the time to do them. But
you mean
I don't know
all the time.
Yeah.
It's required here. It's required 2 inches from the perimeter, not the drain, the perimeter of the shower pan. And
needs to be tested. What do you mean? So you only have to fill it up a little bit?
Yeah, so on the edge of your shower pan, right? Because you've got a slope. It has to be 2 inches from the highest point. So if you got a big enough pan, it could be like 3-4 inches above the drain. Sometimes you got to glue in a temporary dam. And I tell people as a joke, but I'm not really joking. Those inspectors take it seriously. When they say 2 inches, they're gonna pull their pants down and check it. Like they're gonna make sure it's 2 inches. Like, the inspectors in my area, they get them from an orphanage, so they never experience love and compassion. So they're qualified.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
I hope for your sake that no inspector ever finds this show.
I hope he is. I'm talking about you, the plumbing inspector of Durham. He already knows my name.
Yeah, he's in the comment section right now.
No, he doesn't like when I call him. I got a question. And he was like, just read the book. I'm like, the problem is the book doesn't make sense. That's why I'm asking you. Like, he just can't be bothered with me calling him. Like, he's not a city official. like I'm calling you for you to do your job. And he's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, there goes that. And this shall be our last episode.
Yeah, we can.
All my permits from here on out are going to be denied in Durham.
Been fun, Adam.
No, Durham's the worst for permitting in my area. That's the one place. If I wasn't getting so many leads for that area, I would honestly tell customers, unfortunately, I don't serve Durham. Like,
yeah,
that's
wow.
what it's getting to that point. I'll do a curbless pan. The Josh Paranoff says for a curbless pan, I've got to create a temporary dam. Or what you do is you take the foam board and you can glue the foam board temporarily to the membrane, and then I use some spray foam to reinforce it. That's what you do. And then once they're done, I have to unfold everything, take it apart. If you do the membrane where you temporarily make a dam, then you then set it back to the ground. If you're using the foam board, you got to cut and scrape the sealant and stuff off. It's annoying.
Josh, you cup your hands like this. Yeah.
You just put your arms out and hope that it doesn't
it's a tough scenario. Have you ever put up a temporary dam and then trying to remove it ruined your waterproofing? I mean, because it's a temporary, but have you ever done temporary that was kind of too permanent to where you ended up removing? You know, the only time
you went from curlips to curb shower.
Yeah.
The only time I see that being an issue, but it was really nice, is when I did the HydroBlock shower system. When you use their sealant dries pretty hard. It's a great sealant. I wouldn't use it for temporary gluing, right? You use your normal urethane sealants, because the HydroBlock sealant kind of
it's a bonding sealant. It's like a structural.
Dude, it's almost
adhesive.
It's almost like liquid nails feels a little softer. Like you can dig your nail into it, but you're gonna work for it. So I would use an OSI Quad Max, or the KBRS has that polyurethane sealant, which is actually really good. I'd use that stuff and then try to scrape it away. Use your oscillator. Of course, be careful not to nick your shower, your waterproofing. But curbless pans have always been annoying to waterproof.
Yeah, water tests especially. Yeah,
Mm.
that
That's
Quad
what I mean,
Max.
water test.
Yeah, that Quad Max. That's that stuff that you could put down and it could immediately start getting wet. That's the exterior grade sealant, right?
Somewhat. So I use a lot of GoBoard, and Harry will tell you too. GoBoard has their own sealant, but they also have a list of approved sealants that they will allow you to use that's compatible with GoBoard. And the OSI Quad Max is the one you can find at any Lowe's and Home Depot.
They have two that look the same, but only one of those black and yellow tubes is that you're allowed to use in the shower.
Yeah, the OSI Quad and then the OSI Quad Max.
Max is the one's allowed.
That's the one that you want. The problem I run into, and I've had 3 customers complain about this, so I'm starting to move away from it, is, and Harry, you've used that stuff, the OSI Quad Max, it's technically an exterior grade, and it's a pretty strong smell. And I've had 3 customers complain about it. I had one lady that was, we lost the Instagram.
Yeah,
I had
Instagram's down.
I had one lady, she was pregnant, and she was like, "Hey, just out of curiosity, is this okay for me to, to be around?" I was like, "That's a very good question. Honestly, I didn't think about that." And I I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I'm gonna call them right now. In the off chance that it is, is there?" She's like, "I can go to my mom." So I called them. And of course, OSI does not know their approved sealant for GoBoard. So I'm like, "Hey, can a pregnant woman be around these fumes?" She's like, "It is not rated for interior use." I'm like, "Can you answer my fucking question?" Like, she just avoided the thing. I was like, "I'm calling you so you can look at your safety ratings." Like, I don't give a fuck if it's for interior. Like, I'm using an interior where you like it. I'm not. It's already there. And she said there are some fumes that could potentially be dangerous. And I was like, "All right, well then, I'm gonna switch to a low VOC, which I forgot what I used." Alternative. And I think I used topical after that, but it was, but that's the only downside with the OSI Quad Max. It's a pretty strong smell.
The upside with, well, have you ever used Hydroblock, Adam? No, right?
No.
No. Nah, like I
So-
said, I'm like Bear Garage said, Schluter's my thing.
So no, the thing about that sealant, which I found interesting, which was basically our sticking point since coverings, was they had a corner bench, a diamond corner bench, completely glued with sealant, and they had 3 grown adults standing on it, and the sealant was the only thing holding that together. No screws, no nothing. So
I
like,
believe
do
it.
have
that was pretty strong.
Yeah,
And then the second thing was, since a lot of, like, I'll speak from my experience. When I tile my niches, I usually tile to 1 or 2 rows below the niche so I can get the perfect grout lines.
Yeah, I
Like,
do that. Yeah.
how many times you measure and it just never lines up. So this is the sure way. So you cut your niche in, you can put the sealer, take a spray bottle, spray it, and by the time you go get your tiles, it's already cured over.
Wow.
So it's water activated. So that's why they say you can start flood testing within an hour of building a pan.
And this is what sealant is that again? It's
Hydroblock.
the Hydroblock sealant.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. I mean, it's worth trying it. I'm sure Hydroblock will definitely hook you up and let you try it out. But like I said, I personally like it just because of that, and also one of the issues that I ran into, and Mark Palazzo is his name, another tile guy in my area. Go board. When you're doing the niches, sometimes you get carried away. It's just at that point, it's just go board sealant. There's no go board there. So he did a test and put a bunch of tiles over go board ceiling, and they wouldn't bond. He could pop them off the next day like it was nothing, like just with a small trowel.
Really?
So I had that issue with a bathroom because I had a 1.5-inch sliver due to the way the bathroom was. There was no way of avoiding it. And it had the sealant. I put the tiles. I came in the next day. When I went to remove the spacer, the tile popped off. I was like, "Oh, okay." So I took topical at that point. I used Semco, and I covered everything.
Yeah.
And then I went back again, and now it became bonding. So that's one of those things that you kind of have to be like a little bit cautious with.
But that's not the Hydroblock. That was the go board.
No,
sealant, right?
that's the go board sealant. Hydroblock is like cement.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's not like just that clear, like almost silicone. This is like a cementous type
It
and
doesn't
it
feel
will
like
bond to the
it's like
tile.
urethane based.
Right. It almost feels like you can't like one thing about that sealant too that you have to be very careful is moisture. So if you apply it and it's a hot, muggy day, you got
Yep,
to
yep.
start spreading it. Otherwise, it'll literally kick on you before you can actually start spreading it. So you got to be like ready to like do the whole shower in one shot. You can't just do a section and come back.
Wow.
It'll get all messed up. I've ran into that issue, but it's a good sealant.
Yeah, I might have to reach out to them and see if they'll let me try any of their products out on my
Yeah,
next
man.
bathroom.
I'm actually
I've
using
done
their boards tomorrow.
past week. Jeremy and Brian from Hydroblock. Haven't heard anything back, guys. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Shit.
And
so
I did the
Jeremy.
webinar too. I got the certificate coming. What's go? I hope you're watching.
Yeah.
Wanna know what's going on?
So I
Shots
know
fired. Shots fired.
Oh man.
Jeremy for a while was like I think in and out of the hospital because he
Yeah,
had
he
like
had
gotten
COVID for a
COVID and he had COVID and it was
Oh
bad,
shit!
dude. Like
Which
we
That
spoke to
bad?
him, he
Oh,
couldn't even
really?
breathe.
we
It was
we
Oh,
gotta
bad.
man.
give Jeremy a shout out for that because we called and asked questions and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm at the hospital right now, but what's
Oh,
up?"
he
So what do
asked
you
And he
need?
just
you.
answered questions. We're like, "Dude, are you okay?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. What questions do you have?" We're like,
Yeah,
"Bro,
like what do
who
you
else can we talk to?" Like, Jesus, man.
No, dude, he was
That's
like,
some
yeah, I'm at
dedication.
the he was like, I'm at the ER right now, but what's up? What you need? I'm like, why are you in the ER? Like,
It's cool. I'm dying. It's just COVID.
he's like, it's my breathing from COVID. I was like, so I'll call you back. Like, no, this isn't that important. It was just a simple question. But no, he's a good dude. But I don't know what's going on with that. They do have a what do you call that? How do you call that? A lot of chiefs to answer to before they can get to you. So you can
Yeah.
ask them for something, and then it's got to get approved, and it's got to get approved. So
Yep.
it's a lot of top heavy. You know what I mean?
Yep. I've dealt
So
with if you use products and you tag, and I'm sure you've tagged like some of the products you use in your videos. Um, they reach out and they're like, we love that. We just got to send it through the team before we could
oh,
repost it, and it's just like I'm waiting.
yeah. I'm good,
Yeah,
thank you. Don't do it.
it's funny.
If you can't share right on the spot, don't do it. Like
Yeah,
no,
right,
it
right,
takes one click of the mouse. You know what I mean? But that's one issue that I've noticed with Hydroblock. Like you'll request a kit, and they're like, okay, we got to put it through this guy, and then this guy has to approve it for this guy, and that guy will send it back down, and then it'll go to the warehouse, and then shipping will call you.
It's a little top heavy as far as
It's top heavy. That's their issue. It's top heavy. It's not like streamlined. If they could streamline that process where it's like, okay, there's only one guy you got to call. That's it. One guy. He makes all the decisions as far as the social media side of it. Then it'll be streamlined. But the products are good. I'm using it tomorrow. The boards.
Yeah.
You are
They're actually good. Yeah, they're good. I
with
like
this
it.
with the sealant, like you're doing the sealant method. Yep.
Yep.
The customer
Gotcha.
service is good. Their pans are good. Their wall
Yep.
boards are good. The only thing I didn't like about the hydroblock system was their drain, and that's honestly, it's
The
only
grate or
because
the flange system?
The flange system.
both actually.
Really? Okay.
For me, it's both, and I think that's just because I'm so spoiled off of flow effects.
Yeah,
You all are.
they're nice.
So, but someone did find out on Facebook that you can take the flow effects, like the
Round the
Schluter,
round
round drain,
the
and
round one.
you can cut the anchoring legs off, and you can fit it in a flow effects pan.
Yeah.
So that was my only downside. Like I love their system, and this is with a lot of stuff. I had this issue with KBRS too, where KBRS
Yep.
has a phenomenal system, but for you to use like the
I
flow
was about
effects,
to ask
like
if you ever used KBRS.
yeah, I used
yeah.
actually majority of my tile experience when I worked for someone else was the tile basins. The problem with KBRS at the time was they're like, yeah, we can adapt it to a flow effects drain, but it's like, they had that extra fee and then the extended shipping time, and it was just it was more expensive, and it was more of a nuisance than me just doing a mud pan. So that's the only downside. I wish if companies were more open to using the flow effects platform, which most tile setters, at least on social media, are using, I think they'd get a lot further. So
Yeah.
I mean,
that and the compression style, they've got that, like the Odie no caulk
yeah.
drain.
The no caulk
Like
drain.
I'm okay with using that on a slab and on a crawl space, but on a second floor, I've got to glue it. I'm sorry. It's just how I am. Even my plumber's like, I'm not installing that. That's he's like, you can put it in, but I'm not putting that in. That's not going on my insurance.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean the no caulk drains are great, but the problem with the no caulk drains is if you do not if you cut the pipe too short, that's one issue. The second issue is if you did not put mortar under your pans, they'll have that flex. And
Yeah. Yep.
and the other one too is like I hate some plumbers don't support the traps. They think that because it's holding on to that gasket, that's good enough. And I had a customer that had that scenario. The daughter went to take a shower, the trap dropped for some reason, and her entire living room ceiling was water. Like it filled up with water, and then her and the baby were able to get out of the living room before the entire ceiling just collapsed
Is
on
it from
the
the weight
entire
of the weight of the water in the trap, or what
weight
caused
of the
that?
water and weight of the water. They cut it too short. They
Gotcha.
didn't
That makes sense.
support it. They
Gravity,
didn't
the
support
tension from the
it.
water line, from the drain line.
Yeah.
And also because they never put dry pack or Structuralite under the shower pan, which gives it that
Oh
bouncy
man.
flex.
Yep.
So you have to, even though it comes with legs, always
Yeah. Yeah.
put it. There's always going
So
to be that leg.
I had a job where there's a fiberglass surround with one of the twists with the rubber gasket you guys are talking about.
Yep.
But the fiberglass pan was so close to the subfloor that it didn't really have legs. It was like like the single unit, really old ones like from years ago. But I got called. Oh, hey, do you do plumbing? And I was like, I mean, I know enough. I can I come take a look. And when I cut open the ceiling, what I found was they actually, the collar at the bottom underneath the pan that would, create that pressure. And they actually used the plywood as like part of the system. so it was collar, the plywood, then the fiberglass, then the ring, and then so it it lasted for I don't know whatever they had that bathroom for a couple of years.
If you put a support on the pipe, you could probably get away with it. But I just don't like a rubber compression fitting. I don't like the idea of that on a second floor. I'd rather glue it.
Again, their pan had flex, and I'm sure that's the reason why it failed is because just of that up and down movement over time.
It's only
mixed
1
with
inch.
Water. It's not gonna last for too long.
Yeah, no, it's you have to be very precise with the cuts. Sometimes people put those the gaskets upside down, and they'll be like, oh, it's not sealing, so let's just put caulk, even though it's a no caulk drain.
Yeah,
and then it'll work. But over time, because you're stepping on it, the silicone will eventually crack or pop or whatever silicone does. And it'll leak.
My plumber, I will give him this on a no caulk drain. He doesn't trust it so much to the point where he'll put 100% silicone on there. Yeah. And he's like, I don't care if it says it's no caulk drain. It's like I'm gonna seal it. And honestly, if you use the Lexel, I think if you ever,
there we go.
I have a hard time believing that Lexel is 100% silicone, because when you say 100% silicone, you advertise that, right? It's stretchy, right? It expands. That stuff glues like liquid nails, like fusing. Yeah. That stuff is rock hard. But it's great.
I learned that lesson the hard way. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't use it to like for your backsplashes and all that stuff, but or you could probably use it for your glass, but when that stuff cures, it's hard.
No, the glass guys that I had in my last shower, they used it, but they were like, we have to tape everything off. Everything has to get taped. We run our finger right away and then take the tape off. He's like, because if you leave the tape there and you go to peel it, it's part of the tape now. You're not taking that off that silicone. So it's good silicone, but I like silicones instead of plumber's putty because it lasts longer. And
I was just about to ask.
So it lasts longer. Plumber's putty, once it gets wet, starts to disintegrate. Silicone is fine, but just make sure you get the kitchen and bath one, because Lattisil, you put that on there, by the time you go to wipe it, it's already hardened. There is no wiping. You got to cut it out at that point.
I haven't had that issue with Lattisil. But like I use the GE Advanced. It's
Yeah.
like the most expensive one they have.
That's
That stuff is
kitchen and
great.
bath. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, it's still like a step up from that. But I will say, like my plumber, he's been doing plumbing for as longer than I've been alive, and I'm 22 years old. And he's like, honestly, I don't use plumber's buddy at all anymore unless I'm using it. Like he'll roll it up and build a dam if in case he has to drill through granite. Right? He puts a little bit of water in there and he drills through the granite, and he's like, I just use it to retain water. Like he doesn't actually use it for plumbing services.
Somebody's about to catch a beating.
Uh-oh.
They can't see me.
No, they can't see you. You can come say hi, though.
She has the most passive voice ever, bro. Like she even when she
Please get up.
even,
Hello. Hi.
even when she's angry, she sounds passive. But yeah, no, the lattice sill is good. We used it on the dryer vent, right? Didn't we use that, or we used the exterior one?
No, we used Lattisil.
It was lattice
Not
sill, right?
Lattisil. We used Lexel.
Lexel.
Huh.
So
Yeah, which they sent us you can actually request a kit, like a test kit from them. And
Okay.
they'll send you all of them. They'll send you.
It's like a full.
yes.
It's a full
Sash
size usable.
Yeah, they'll
Oh,
give
yeah.
you tubes.
Kit?
they give
Okay.
you Lexel. They give you Through the Roof. They give you
Yeah.
Exact Color, which is a caulking that what you do is you take the paint that you're using, and this is mainly used for exterior. Like if you're doing exterior siding, you mix the paint in with the caulking and you shake it up, and you have a caulking that's tinted to that
To
color.
the paint. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Then they
I
give
just
you
found
this.
out about that from Parker LBK. You follow him at all?
Who?
Yeah.
Parker?
Parker, yeah. So
I don't
I got
know.
the kit through Parker, but I knew about Lexel and Sashco through the Perkins brothers. They're also a builder in North Carolina, and Sashco is very friendly towards creators. So that's always good to see. But they also have this. I will say their clean silicone. They're like mold resistant silicone. Is really good. I use that on backsplashes. It's in the truck in the pack out. I use that for the toilets and everything. Sashco did follow up with me. I think they called Omar too. Did you wait, Harry? Did you get the kit from Parker?
No.
Okay, so like I got the kit from them, and the Sashco rep called me back. I was like, "Hey, what'd you think?" And I was like, "It was great." I didn't get to use the Through the Roof because I don't do a lot of roofing. The Exact Color I'm waiting to use, but the Lexel was good. And they're like, okay, well, let's send it to you tinted in white, right? And let's send it to you in black and almond, right? They were able to send me more stuff based off of what I was able to use and what I use on a daily basis.
Right on.
And the big stretch. The big stretch is pretty good too.
That stuff's
Yeah,
good.
that's-
That
That
stuff
stuff
I've put hands on. That one I have touched. I haven't touched any of those other ones.
Yeah,
yet.
no, you can believe it or not, they're actually really good at sponsoring creators. If
Yeah.
you use a lot of silicone, like a lot of it, and
Okay.
you have a lot of videos, they will sponsor you. They're really good guys. Like I said, for them to call me, they're like, "Well, we sent you the package. Have you used it? Do you have some questions?" They call me to check up on you, which most
Make more
companies don't.
content using our stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't
So-
even that. They just wanted like genuine
They,
feedback. Like,
they
what'd you
just
think
really
about
want
it?
genuine feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right
I,
on.
So
I was like,
they're like them.
yeah, I was like, the big stretch is great. The Lexel is, that stuff is pretty solid for exterior use. I would use Lexel all day. Same with the big stretch. The Exact Color it's a cool concept, and honestly, if you do what's called hardy siding where you paint it, phenomenal. For
Yeah.
exterior stuff, to dedicate a whole tube of caulking to one color is a bit much, and I told them that.
Okay.
Unless you do like agreeable gray. The Through the Roof, I was like, I didn't get a chance to what Harry?
Agreeable gray.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Oh,
The
well,
name.
that's like the most popular Sherwin-Williams color. Like,
It is.
everybody
I
knows
know. That's
agreeable
why I
gray.
laughed. Like that's like.
Oh, we
that's-
didn't get to use Through the Roof because we used tar.
Yes. Now I did
Oh.
use Through the Roof on I did a job for one of my Spanish teachers from high school, and we had to vent it through the roof because the shower or the vent for the bathroom was just vented into the attic. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna fix that. So I ran it through the roof. It's got a similar feel to Lexel, which I like. I guess with the old school guys that taught me, I was like, it's tar, right? It doesn't look like tar, doesn't feel like tar, doesn't smell like tar. Like this isn't right. But that stuff cured pretty hard, and it was pretty good. So,
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Guys.
So it's reach out to them.
oh, Harry, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even realize we were on for an hour and 20 minutes already.
Yeah,
That went by quick.
told you we ramble on a lot.
Yeah.
Adam.
I can tell you right now, there's
No, I
only
really
like
went by
5 minutes.
I didn't expect that.
So,
I mean, I know I stepped out of the room for a couple times, but
That's all right. Episode 31, guys. We did it, right?
That's it. We did it. We've surpassed the survival rate of
Failures.
90. The failures, dude, it's crazy actually. Like, I think it was 10
it's
or 20 episodes.
20 episodes.
20 episodes.
20, yeah.
Oh,
Most
really?
podcasts die. Yeah, all like 90% of them die at 20 episodes.
well, now with that being said, we haven't been the most consistent, but honestly, I think the longest we went was a month, and that's because I was up in New York, and ever since I got the laptop,
Yeah.
we were.
Well,
we were able to
that was the month was I think it was during Christmas because it was just a weird time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate the the whole podcast because it creates like a sense of community. For like us single working companies, self-owned, runners, right? It's
Yeah, solo installers.
yeah, it means a lot because I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a decent amount of people in and out of the chats hopping in.
Yes, that was the most we ever had actually. No,
But
I don't know. Was
I
it?
wasn't even keeping track of it this time.
If
Yeah.
not, it was close to it. It's
yeah.
definitely one of the most responsive, but our chats have slowly become more and more interactive over time.
yeah, but it's nice because it's a sense of community that kind of helps us feel more confident. I mean, like you guys are talking about these sealants, right? And anyone else listening that hasn't touched them might now go like, all right, those sound good, right?
I'm confident about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it offers a lot. So you guys should
Yeah,
keep
we
it
try.
going.
Do you think that going live on Instagram has contributed to our chat getting
Yes.
kind of
Absolutely.
Yes.
I would say so. I mean, I was following the Instagram live chat. And it seemed
We actually get more activity on Instagram than we do on YouTube. The problem is StreamYard, we cap out at an hour. So we need to redirect people to the YouTube channel. But that's why we're trying to, get exposure on Instagram, but redirect people to YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
but it's with the whole thing with the Instagram, because I've noticed like YouTube is where you go to find videos of how to do things. Instagram is where you go to find people to talk to and network with. Like it's literally a giant what do you call that? LinkedIn basicall for like the trades. It's on Instagram.
Well, YouTube is our archive essentially. Like you can back at all of our stuff on YouTube.
I mean, Instagram is where I learned how to do epoxy miters and the epoxy color matching resins.
Ooh.
I just finished doing a custom stair nose. I still got to epoxy the outside of the corners. I decided to install cabinets and start moving. But
so what epoxy do you use?
The 10X.
10X. Okay.
Yeah, the platinum, and then there's the other one.
A lot of guys use that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's just
I conversation. That's the one that's recommended the most.
I mean, I slid into someone's DMs. It was just like, "What are you using, man? I need to know." And he was awesome about it. He recorded a video and like sent me a video of him driving in his truck and was like, "This is what I use." And I said, "Oh, all right, that's awesome."
The platinum and the knife grade. Knife grade is very big, as well.
That's yeah.
Is that what you got?
I got the knife grade extra clear. Although,
what coloring kit did you get?
The 10X coloring kit, the one that I think they only make one. I don't really know. I didn't, but the
no, there's others.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah.
The clear was good, but like if you're trying to match a light toned tile, I noticed that you could still the clearness of it still peeks through. What are you doing with your beard? It peeks through. So like if
do that.
the underside of the I could try. I don't think
The pen's a little heavy, but my man goes in.
Nah,
It's it peeks through the clearness of that the 10x extra clear knife grade. I noticed when I'm trying to match it
Bleeds
to like
through?
a light whitish gray.
It could be your coloring. Add more color.
I've been well. Here's the problem: is if when you add too much coloring, now you're not matching the tile. So I think I need to now for this instance, I need to switch to a white, the white base, not the clear, and just mix.
What I use, and I got
color
Omar
away.
into it, is the VMAX SV9. It's somewhat clear, but it's got like a
greenish tint to it.
no, it's not green. The can is green, but it's white. It's like a frosty white, and you use the Superior coloring kit. That's what I've learned to do epoxy on, and I love that stuff.
SV9, you said?
Yeah, VMAX SV9. You can get it in a 5-gallon drum or like a pint.
Oh,
I
geez. I was about to say that's the first thing I saw was that big 5-gallon. I said, "Oh boy."
Oh yeah, dude, and you know it is stronger than the 10X, dude. You don't do it in a closed room. Open a window, you will get high. But it's good stuff. And the coloring kit's really good. They're owned by Superior, so the Superior coloring kit's really nice. You leaving, Harry?
Harry.
All right, see you.
Yeah,
buddy.
I'm out of here, guys.
All right.
Later.
All right, man. Good to meet you, bro.
Yeah, we'll talk again probably soon. Enjoy.
Yeah, man. Later.
All right.
Later.
So I recommend trying that.
Try that, yeah.
So
also another thing that sorry, cut you off is the last time I tried to epoxy something, right? So once you get good at it, speed wise, mix wise, when you add the hardener, it changes color. It gets lighter. So the last time I used it, I actually mixed it with the hardener, but I didn't put as much, and I was able to get the perfect color without having to change on me.
I don't know, Omar. It's not actually the color. It's not the hardener. It's when you mix the color in with the
epoxy
with the base. Yeah. So what I do is and this is when I did a lot of slab work. So we used to match light pewter, with Laticrete. That was like the perfect color for the Calcutta slabs that we did. So I would mix a really big batch of light pewter, and because I would do is I would just add more dye to the epoxy, and it would make it darker and a little more opaque.
Okay.
And that way I had a more consistent batch as far as color. Because if you have to, the worst scenario you can have is to have to mix a second batch of epoxy and color.
Does it get brittle? I had it get brittle on me. Well, not brittle. I mean, it was still really hard and sticky, but like it got brittle, more brittle than, when I added too much color was what I'm getting at. It was just, it became, you can almost feel it. It was less.
I've never had that issue. The only time I've had that issue is when you mix the hardener in way too hot, because what happens is it cures so much, and like it'll be hot to the touch, like uncomfortable to touch if you mix too much hardener. And what will happen is it will shrink so fast that the tile, like it separates from the tile. So I know how to, with the SV9, I know how to mix the batch a little hot, but without it cracking.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to Bondo, right? Where it's just like, all right, you get a bond, you run a line across it. That's how much you need. If you do that with the epoxy, it's going to be really hot. And if it cracks, you have to tear it all out.
Have you ever, a couple of times, you mix your grout and you're like, before you're done, you might want to save like a scoop, just to like, God forbid, all the time, right? I found out the hard way that like, I threw it in a plastic bag and like, closed it. I was like, it'll stay wet for longer if I close it. Because it was trying to cure in that plastic.
No.
It melted.
Especially epoxy grout. No.
It got so hot it basically melted the plastic.
Yeah, so you're talking about the epoxy? Or you're talking about normal?
No, this was Ultra Plus FA actually.
Ultra class? Who's
the
that?
Mapai Ultra Plus FA Rapid Set.
Yeah, the one that if you do that it has a heat activated chemical in it that
Yeah,
you can't put in a bag.
yeah, I found
So
out.
I always leave a little bit of grout on the side. I mean, whenever I clean outside of epoxy grout, because it's almost virtually impossible, is I take a little scoop, because obviously you're gonna have a little hole and you got to finger paint it. You do that little ordeal, and that's what I usually end up doing. I've only had the issue with epoxy grout where it sets up too fast on me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
Somebody tried to do a whole bathroom with FA and didn't quite work out that way. Now did it?
It had been so long since I used FA.
you had a failure?
Oh, dude, this is
Oh,
when I
man.
went to Omar. It had been probably about 2 years before I used
Wasn't it
FA.
summertime too? It was kind of hot
Oh,
that
dude,
day.
it was hot. It was
It's
hot.
my favorite grout. I mean, to be honest, I've used every other grout. That's probably my favorite go-to.
The problem is it was a small room that I was in. And of course, when you're working in a small room, the room gets significantly hotter. So like I'd open up a window, it was hot outside, it was hot inside. Use that MAPE FA, heat only makes it cure faster. And like it got to the point where I was doing the whole wall and I was scrubbing. And when I say I was scrubbing, dude, I was scrubbing. We went from scrubbing to scraping. Like we had to shape the grout joints. And
Oh,
like
man.
it had been over 2 years, like 2.5 years since I used an FA. I've always used a lattice grout. So I had forgotten how fast it sets up. And like I went in there and I'm doing the whole thing, and Omar comes in to check on me. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm
Dude, so
grouting."
the running joke with FA is that you do the wax on, wax off method. Like you put it on and wipe right away because it's going to start to set on you. Like that's how fast FA will set on you.
Yeah.
And when you're mixing it, you've probably seen this where you like put a little water, you're like, it looks kind of dry.
Too
So you're like,
wet, too wet, too
then you
dry,
put
too
more
wet,
water.
too
Next
dry.
thing you're already a bag in, and you're like, yeah, this isn't ever gonna get to the consistency I want, do I?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
And the guy that taught me towel, I called him. I was like, dude, I can't get this. The first time I started mixing, I was like, I can't get this grout to get to the right consistency worth a damn. And he was like, just keep mixing. Like, trust me, just keep mixing. If it feels a little dry, just keep mixing.
No,
And all
he's
of a
right.
sudden,
If you
yeah,
do a 3-to-1 mixture, it stays powdery for like the first minute of
yeah.
mixing.
And then it gets super creamy,
And
like
then it
almost
does, yeah.
runny. Like oh, oh,
It's bad.
but
Cat making noise.
so like I always got to mix it more, and it's like even now FA I've got to mix it for a while, and I was like, no, it's still not changing. And the problem is if you mix it, of course, if you mix FA dry, way too dry, oh dude, it sets up quick.
I've done it, yeah. But it is my favorite. It's the best. I think it's the best grout for getting smooth grout joints, at least in my experience.
Mhm.
Well, I
Okay.
haven't done the new the Permacolor Select. They just came out with the new
It
batch.
sucks. The Permacolor Select sucks. The Permacolor Selects versus the new Permacolor is you get the base, right? And then you have to mix the grout color packets in the
Yeah.
base. The problem is to get a consistent color, you have to mix one of the color packets per 10-pound bag. Now, what I'll do is I'll split the dye in half and the bag in half. But it's annoying because if you ever need just a little bit, or you're trying to grout the shower pan enough to work on it, to walk on it, and then you're tiling the walls, you have to mix a very large batch for a small area.
Yeah.
So like my area, they only carry the Permacolor Select. So I got to drive 45 minutes out to buy the pre-made bags, which sometimes is worth it for me to mix that. So I don't personally like the Permacolor Select. I like Permacolor, but I don't like Permacolor Select. That's
Yeah,
how-
I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't think I've used the regular Permacolor yet.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing. The only difference is you mix the grout color dye with the grout.
Gotcha.
That's the
Yeah,
only difference.
if you ever watched Tile Coach did a test on all the grouts.
I did
He
see
literally
that. Yeah.
So
Ultra Plus FA, I think, won that whole.
Right,
And
Ultra
Ardex
Plus
was like
FA.
smearing baby shit.
Yeah, Ardex was the worst. What's the other one? Custom builds from Home Depot.
Yeah.
I have that in my shower because, like, obviously that was like my first shower that I did was my own. And when I'm taking a shower, you can put your finger against the grout line and it starts coming off as you're
Yeah,
rubbing
it's
it with
really
your
bad.
fingers. So
I've
that
used
whole.
that stuff a couple
Man.
times. It's nice to tool though. I mean, like
Oh
it
yeah, no.
applies well. Like it's a good working grout. It's just after it's cured, it's it gives up.
The FA I like because like when you're doing niches and the corners, you could leave a little bit extra, and then later on you can come and cut it with a knife, and it's like perfect. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so that's the one reason I like the FA, and also because of how fast it sets. Like, you could literally, like I said, do half of a wall, put the bucket down. By the time you come back, you start wiping it, and it's ready to go.
oh yeah.
So the FA is pretty. The FA is good on that end of it, but ever since who was it? Heavy Tile, I think, was the one that told me about the FA, and then I started using it, and after that, it's like
It's a
what was the other one? The Latticrete premix one that we used,
Oh,
Jeremiah. That thing was horrendous.
uh, no. So they
oh,
have two. They have the Spectralock one, and then they have the Ready Mix. The Spectralock one is really good. But the Ready Mix is just it. I think it's just a regular permacolor with like a retardant in it, so it
okay.
cures a little slower.
Like
Yeah.
really slow.
But the Spectralock one is amazing. It's not an epoxy grout. There's a difference. There's epoxy and there's epoxy rated. Spectralock one is epoxy rated, but it's not an epoxy grout. Fun fact.
Hmm. Did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So
Yeah. So FA is all the way. You just have to warn Jeremiah or the helper, like you mix this thing and it starts
Yeah,
smearing.
I
And
think I do
then,
like 5 feet. I think I do 5, 6 feet. Depending on the size of the tile, like if it's a lot of grout joints, I might do
dude,
less.
speaking
Yeah,
of helpers,
it
I do
also
like
depends if you have the grout bucket. It's amazing. Like the
I
little
do. I
roller.
do.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, you
the
can do
roller bucket.
significantly more. Oh yeah. I showed that to the guys I do
or
tile with, and it was amazing.
the mop with the spin. So if you're doing like a large floor, you don't want to be on your knees. Use that mop with a spinner.
What do you mean, like
So good,
a
like
normal
a
cleaning
normal
mop?
mop. Yeah,
Really?
Really? You've used that for grout?
for
I've used that to
wiping it. Yeah.
buff haze and stuff
Really?
off, but I've
No,
never used
when I used it and I
Oh
was like,
man.
because it was a lot of area to cover, and you're just constantly like, it's a
Oh man.
lot. So the thing is that it has the spinner, so that takes all the stuff out. So you're able to clean it up pretty good.
I've used a floor squeegee for grout.
I
That's
want a
about it.
sandwich too.
Oh, you can't end it like this, Adam. Oh, okay. Sorry.
You
Got a
can't
little
put that in
concerned.
her coffee. That's just wrong.
Nah, she was trying to get me to drink bleach. You guys saw that? Oh no.
Damn, you're my
You
witness.
put it in his coffee, all right? Y'all saw
So
that documentary too.
so my helper, my ex helper, I should say, he was grouting, and
Okay.
we were using FA. And when I went there, he was like putting the sponge all the way down and then wiping the grout. So when I got there, there was like valleys everywhere. I'm like, this you're supposed to have a little bit, but it's not supposed to be so deep that you could actually see like
Yeah.
the trowel marks.
The
You
Yeah,
edge,
know,
yeah,
the edge of the
yeah.
tile.
he like cleaned all of it. So that's when I did the mop thing, and I went with I put everything down. I cleaned it as much as I could with the float, but then with the mop, I just dipped it and with like 2 wipes, ring it on the spinner, 2 wipes, and it was perfect. Downside is if you use black grout, you got to get rid of that mop afterwards because there's no cleaning that.
Oh
It's just
man.
it's black grout. Nobody should ever use black grout. It should be outlawed, but it's
So you know what's
horrendous.
so funny, and it's every person I talk to has like a hatred for black grout. I've never had a bad experience with black grout, so I don't know where it comes from. Why do you guys hate? Why do you hate black grout? I don't.
If you use the FA, it's not as bad because what you do is I let it set up enough, and I'll take my finger and I'll touch the grout. If it doesn't stick to my finger, it's ready to go.
Yeah,
Right?
Sale de
And
Blasi taught me that. I saw one of his.
yeah,
He had a video, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that.
yeah.
But
When you do that, it's fine. I will say Latticrete on the black grout smears a bit. Again, Ardex, I refuse. I tell customers like I'll color match it to a Latticrete palette because I prefer Latticrete, but I refuse to use Ardex. Not
gotcha.
to mention, you've got to mix the additive for the crack resistance, the latex. It's not built in. There's no microband built in. There's no crack
Yeah.
resistance. There's no sealer. All that you got to mix in by hand.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like I said, it's like smearing baby shit on a wall.
like for instance you saw the bucket the ruby bucket. I had to go and put acid crystals to get all the black grout out of it. My sponges are permanently black, so I usually find like when you're doing black grout, I use a sponge that I'm gonna throw out because after that you go to use it in another job, it will sometimes still be there no matter how much you wash that sponge.
Yeah,
It'll still have a little bit of black.
I found out for those ruby buckets, I wash my sponges in the acid. It doesn't dissolve the sponge. But what I'll do is
Didn't
I'll
you like
It
ruin a
dissolves
trowel?
troughs.
Yeah, I was
It
about to
dissolves
say.
troughs.
my problem with that one is I pour like half a gallon in there and I let it soak. Usually I put a
Oh,
little
man.
splash in there and I swash it around and it dissolves it, but I let this one
Yeah,
soak,
yeah.
dude. And it like
Yeah.
the first time I called, I was on the phone
Nice.
with Omar and I was like, "Hey, I had a drywall knife in here and it just lopped the corner off." And then like that trowel got disintegrated,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's bad, and then
but
on
it
top
cleans
of
really
that,
well.
the
Yeah,
comment
yeah,
section,
yeah.
the comment section killed him because he decided to pick up
Oh yeah, with no
Bare-
Yeah,
glove.
with your bare
barehanded.
fingers. I always said the same thing. I
Bro,
cringed a little bit. I was
it took like
"Yee,"
5 minutes,
It's
like,
melting metal, and you're like,
yeah.
look at this, guys.
Look at this, guys. It's pretty cool. Look, I can
No.
use my nail to clean it. But
Yeah.
do you have a bucket liner? Yeah, right.
I don't know. I haven't gotten one yet. I've been.
What the hell's the
I
matter
need
with
one.
you?
I a lot. I know
Oh,
because I
that's it.
actually
Tag.
like this
Oh, boy.
last job. I'm pretty sure I went through 10 buckets because
Israel, if you're going with that, if
I
you went
did
from
18 bags of self leveler, and I
Wait,
have done 20 bags of thin set on this
how
job
much?
so
How much
far.
is a bucket?
Uh, oh, you're gonna do the math for me here.
Yeah,
It's
$5 a bucket.
It's $3.48 or something like that. Yeah,
So
$4.
$4 with tax.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're talking $40 on that one job.
And I think what the bucket liners are $80.
80.
All right, so half
No,
of
it's
this.
it's totally worth it. Reach out to Bucket Saver.
Yeah, all right.
They'll take care of you. We can tag them onto this Bucket Saver. I'm sure they're watching too.
Yeah,
like to
Israel.
watch
Israel was in the chat earlier.
Yeah, he
on
was.
Instagram.
He
I don't
was
know.
in the
Oh,
chat.
we
It
should
is
start.
in
We
my
should start
area
this
is
conversation.
448 for a 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot.
Okay, maybe it's 448. Not
So unless you go to
338.
Lowe's,
so
the
it's,
Lowe's
I was
bucket.
close.
$5.
A little
So it's
dyslexic
$5
on the
with
numbers,
tax.
but it was close.
So $5 a bucket, 5 per job.
Yeah.
And like the problem too that the issue that I had, like my issue was not the waste of the bucket, is that when you went to use it the next day, you spent 20 minutes scraping that damn thing, and you still get
That's a lot,
those
yeah.
little leftover chunks when you're troweling.
If you didn't crack your bucket,
If you didn't crack your bucket, which happens
it always
quite
happens
often.
on the last hit too. You're getting the last little bit off. You spent like 10,
Yeah.
15 minutes cleaning out, and all of a sudden that last tap.
And click. So, especially the Lowe's buckets, stay away from those.
Yeah, it's my brother. So my brother's an engineer, and he told me that it's the blue dye that creates the weak
The
plastic.
weak point.
Yeah, and he said he knows for a fact because he uses blue dye in the products that they engineer, and so he knows firsthand. And he was the one that told me that.
I had to go apologize to the guy that taught me tile because he was like, never buy a Lowe's bucket for mixing your thin set, right? And I was like, I need a bucket today. So I bought a Lowe's bucket. Dude, the first time I mixed it, you're
Boom.
mixing it, and what happens is the paddle kicks a bit and it, runs around the edge of the bucket. Oh, blew the side right out.
Yeah,
And it is a brand new bucket. Like nothing has been mixed in it beforehand. I called him back and I was like, I'm sorry. And
So yeah, reach out
I
to
didn't know it
him
was the blue
them.
dye.
Yeah, I will.
That's crazy. No,
Israel,
reach out to them.
we have a
and,
non-believer.
Are they local to us? Where are they at? Where's Bucket Saver located at? Where are they at?
Is it
Where is
Nevada?
Paul located? I think Nevada.
What's his
Nevada.
name? It's Paul.
Nevada.
It's Paul. Paul's the owner, but Israel is the person you're going to talk to on Instagram.
All right.
So both of them
Real
are
nice
really
guy.
nice, really great to talk to. We interviewed them on the podcast. It's
Very
a really
smart.
good product.
I actually have in the dumpster on my job site. I'll have to take a picture and send it to him. I'm not kidding. There is all those buckets in there.
Well, add it to a reel.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I should actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you should, because again, everybody's like, "Oh, it takes extra time." Like, dude, how many times did we leave the job site with that thing full of thin set? Just literally
There's
walk
a couple
off the
times
job.
where I got tired. You're working till like 8:00 at night.
Yeah.
You're like, let me just get these couple more tiles down so that tomorrow's easier or something, because you say you're doing a lot of Yeah, there's a couple
especially on
times
a
where
Friday. Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm
yeah.
like, I'm
So
not scooping that bucket.
Uh,
so that's the
It's garbage
that's
now.
the thing with the liner. Like you come in the next day, turn it inside out, it pops right off. It doesn't stick to the liner unless it's multi-max, and it will become or all set. It'll become part of the liner.
Oh, all set and Multimax Light is got the pipe.
They stick for some reason. They
Whoa.
stick. Like
Yeah,
I mean, stain. I should say stain. I shouldn't say stick. Stain.
Multi-max will stick. The problem with multi-max versus the all set is you can't clean it with acid because
Nope.
acid only reacts to cementitious products, and multi-max and Trilite uses Kevlar fibers. So you can pour the acid in there and it helps loosen it up, but it won't. It won't loosen.
Yeah.
It'd be no different from soaking in hot water, essentially.
Gotcha.
So, other than that, it's a great product.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
gonna have to reach out. And
I
see
get
if,
that. See, I the three things that I always recommend, and I know Jeremiah hates these. Is bucket liner, scoop and scrape, which is a plastic scoop that was designed for thin set. I mean, for drywall mud, but I use it for thin set because when you're done at the end of the day, you put it in a bucket of water and it rinses right off. It doesn't stick. It's plastic. You know what I
But
mean?
it's a bucket scoop. That's
Yeah,
plastic.
it's a bucket scoop, but it's plastic.
Contoured to the bucket.
Because I got the
Right.
the QEP bucket scoop.
Right, that thing's
I've
got
got
like
the
old
same
chunks
one.
of built up
and
on
it's
it.
it's the handle's too long. It just always.
Yeah. No, this one's perfect, and you can get the kit because it has the mixing paddle. The mixing paddle is a 16 shank with a ABS paddle. It's made out of actual ABS.
Right.
So at the end, like when I'm mixing my thin set, I have a cleaning bucket. I run it on the cleaning bucket. The mixing paddle is perfect. I don't have to wake up and do the church bell rung at the beginning of the shift. We got to whack here.
Yeah,
We
he's
got to
got a
whack.
video of me doing that. Ding, ding.
Yeah.
They just try to start church morning, but get those three and it's a dream. You'll get so used to it that like me doing the towel work the other day for my dad, I said, dude, do you need tools? He's like, no, I got everything. I'm like, all right. So I go there. It's a Anvil, right? Is that the brand? Anvil tile cutter or
Omar's
whatever
a
the Home
prima
Depot.
donna. If he doesn't have his
Dude,
gloves, he freaks out.
so I'm like, okay, that's there. And I look at this Home Depot bucket, and there's chunks. There is all kinds of stuff because he didn't clean the bucket from the day before. And he's like mixing it with it. I'm like, dude, there's chunks here. Like I'm troweling chunks on the wall. So I was so like, I felt so naked. Like I was like, I need my tools. Like I didn't have a water bucket. His sponge was like chunked up with thin set because he didn't clean it from the day before.
I didn't have an Italian made level.
Yeah, I didn't have an Italian made
Yeah,
level. So it's I looked at him and he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Just go cut some tile." Like,
Why are you the way that you are?
why are you the way you are? I just want to beat you.
Have you guys taken before we go offline? Have you guys done the CTI certified tile installer tests?
No, I've actually
You
considered
guys-
doing that.
I think I looked it up. You need a minimum of 5 to make the attendance worth, I guess, them doing the test.
Mhm.
We should. You
I
guys
don't
should
wanna
plan. You guys
test.
should plan one.
Yeah, I've considered that. I'm actually gonna go to a NTCA slab training in Charlotte. I want to, Shafiq and Herrick from Heavy Tile. Yeah, Shafiq from Goat Tile and Herrick from Heavy Tile got certified in it.
Traffic.
And Traffic, yeah. I've got a background in slab, but I was always trained by my employer. I never got like a certificate. And even though I know I can install it properly, looking at the handbook, I was like, okay, I was doing that right. It is nice to show a customer that you got a certificate. So I am planning to do that. I've thought about doing the CTI certification. It's more of a customer thing, right? When you can use the more you can show certifications, the more the customer's happy.
CTI is the one where they actually like give you a wall to tile, right?
Correct. Do they give you like it's like a 2 foot or no? Yeah, it's like a 3 foot.
It's like a little demo size, and you have I think 8 hours to do it, I believe, and it's pretty tough. The people that I've talked to that have done it said it's the hardest 8 hours they've ever
I'm
done?
not doing that because they're gonna
No?
be like, "Where's your measuring tape?" I don't measure.
Yeah, come on.
I just
I think
I
it's
just
like
throw up the
everything
tiles.
needs to
I
be within
eyeball
a
it.
30-second or something. It's a pretty tight.
Yeah, no, see, but like tile is art, man. You know what I mean? Like we just try to make tiles look good because tiles are not square, they're not flat. You know, it's to have something where they're like, oh, it's within a 1/32. Like, really?
Yeah.
Give
Omar,
me,
do you see Adam on your screen for him? Oh,
no,
there
he's
he goes.
coming back.
Am I coming back?
Um,
It's a still image for me.
Yeah, it's just a still image for me too.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, no, unless they're gonna give us rectified tiles, they have been properly shaved, and you know what I mean. Like, don't come over here 132 with a freaking off-brand tile.
From my understanding, it's like the Schluter training, but they focus more on the tile installation side of it. So, like the Schluter training, they give you that test section, but you're focused on the waterproofing, obviously.
right.
Versus, I guess waterproofing is still part of it. I haven't attended the course, so I wouldn't know. This isn't like set in stone, but I feel like they're focusing more on the tile installation side.
Mm.
But at the end
Yeah,
of the day, the more
I'd have to
certifications you
see
can
it.
show to a customer, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
take a day
think I'm
off
gonna try to do
that.
one. I know a couple other tile guys in my area that want to do it, and I think I'm gonna try to get one going.
Yeah, it'll give me an excuse to fly up.
You should, man. I know it's
Really?
yeah.
I knew that was gonna get you.
Oh
Sure.
man. Ugh.
He won't come up here to make money, but he'll come over here and spend the day learning how to tile all over again.
Well, you got to
Adam's
pay
a
for
pretty
it too.
fun guy. No,
Yeah.
I'll go to Connecticut. I don't know about New York. New York's a little too far.
Dick. You got to take him to that burger, the spot where they made the first burgers.
Oh yeah, Louis lunch over in New Haven.
Yeah,
I've been there a bunch,
tell him
man.
to ask for ketchup.
Oh, I'm gonna tell him to bring it in his pocket and kick his ass.
Dude, they'll throw you out that red. Yo, dude, they're serious about that thing because my foreman, he's like, yeah, dude, can you do me a favor? Can you give me some ketchup I want for my burger? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. I get out of the truck, I go over there. I'm like, you guys have some ketchup? He's like, get the fuck out of my shop right now. I was like, oh,
dude.
shit. They're serious. They're like, I'm gonna kick you out of this shop. Get out of my face.
I don't like ketchup on burgers. If it's a good burger, it's like a steak, right? It should require minimal seasoning, and it should just be
because
juicy and flavorful.
That was just a joke, dude. Like so it's like you know how like a griddle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you close in the pancake. That's what they do with the patties, and they put it into this burner. Like it's literally old school way of making burgers. It's weird. You have to see it, and it tastes amazing.
I wouldn't know. My tour guide in New York didn't do a very good job. No.
All right, what do you guys think? 2 hours? We're at 2 hours.
Yeah,
we're good. Yeah,
we're good. Yeah,
we should call it. I gotta eat dinner actually still.
I gotta cook dinner, so.
Oh boy, we're doing it. My wife's pointing at her belly right now. I know.
I will let you go so you don't get in trouble, man.
She cooking?
All right. Hey, I enjoyed it, guys. Let's do the CTI test.
Before you head out, you gotta let us know the handles where people can find you, location in case scouts are out there looking for a tile guy.
Yeah, so I'm Central Connecticut. It's Maple and Marble Remodeling.
Where can we find you on Instagram?
It's at Maple and Marble Remodeling.
All right.
Yep, and then I think my YouTube is not up and running just yet, but it's going to be the Maple and Marble Remodeling as well. So
just use your email picture. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on, Adam. It's always great talking to you.
Hey, it was a pleasure, guys.
Thank you for staying on for about twice as long as what we expected, but it was always good talking to you.
All right, good night, guys.
All right, see you
Later.